Alright YouTubes, in today's video we've got an Audi S3 to paint. It's gone on horrible, fucking fucked off with it, I tell ya. We'll have a look in the morning. So we've got the front end to do, which is the normal, what you'd expect, loads of stone chips, complete front bumper, and a complete rear bumper, a few repairs. And this front bumper, we were supposed to be putting a new front bumper on this. It was sort of hitting the front, it was a mess, this front bumper, a real mess. All bowed out and not lining up, big gap with the headlight, and split across here as well. I think I've got some pictures. If I have, I'll stick them up. Had horrible smart repairs, couple of smart repairs on it, and again absolutely annihilated in chips. So the customer agreed to he did nudge this front bumper. He did nudge it here, but it already had previous repairs all around this, which was nasty. And we thought initially maybe where he's nudged it, it knocked it all out of line. But when we stripped it, and he bought this car like this as well from a main dealer, won't say no names, and it already been in a previous accident, and all the impact bar was all bent. I think again I've got pictures, I'll show them. So all the impact bar was bent and pushed in really out of line, and you know, a lot of this was causing all this not to be lined up. So yeah, we was putting a new front bumper on it, and then yeah, when we stripped it, we found all this other damage, so we've got all new parts for that, new front grille. And the reason why we're not putting a front bumper on it is because there's big back order at the minute, so we've had to go repairing it, and it's come out all right. So we've done some plastic welding on it, and we've got a few new brackety bits to go in it, and it was sort of cracked across the front, but there was a load of clag in it, and underneath it was okay, but we did melt it in a little bit there, so a little bit of plastic welding there, and yeah, Reese has done all this, done a really good job of prepping this, so we're just going to get a good amount of primer on it and see what it looks like. And we just took most of the paint off of it down to the bare plastic, so yeah, we're having to make do with this one. And the back bumper just had poor previous paint and a few little nudges and stuff. So this video, I'm going to prime this up. I didn't record any of the prepping because it gets a bit repetitive, and we're doing the same sort of process. So initially I buzzed this off with 180 just to get the bulk of it off, and then finished off in 240 for the primer. I'm going to use MIPA multi-filler. If you're not regular to the channel, my whole paint system's MIPA. So I'm using the multi-filler on this. MIPA multi-filler's a primer that will go over multiple substrates, so it's really good for bare metal, really good for plastic. So that's why I'm going to use it on this, so I can go direct on the metal with this. It's not got the highest build out of all their primers, but there's a few mixing ratios. So I use the high build mixing ratio. And like I say, it's great for bare metal, so it's great for that application. I always use it on plastics now because it's designed for plastics. It's got a bit of flex in it, so it's not too like rock hard. Some 2-pack primers are really hard and got great build, but the downside to that, which can have a detrimental effect, you've got to put a load of primer on bumpers, especially when you get them to this stage. They go furry, you've got to fill in all that. There's always going to be chips that you're trying to fill. So you do have to put a lot of primer on a bumper when you've took it to sort of this extent of preparation. But the downside to that is with all that build of product on there, then with your layers afterwards, your paint layers, normally wet them, base coat and clear, if they get little nudges or flex a little bit, it's got a tendency to put hairline splits in them areas that you may have nudged or flexed. So that's the downside to putting loads of products. You know, when you get a new bumper, there's a thin layer of primer on there, there's got the paint layers on there, and it's all quite flexible and it's forgiving. But when you go to this extent with bumpers, which you have to do, with all that material on there, there's a tendency and a risk of it, what I call spider webbing, where the paint will flex, it will go back to its original position, but will create little hairline cracks in the product. So that's what this MIPA multi-filler, again, is designed for. It's got some flex in it. It's meant for this type of application. So, you know, it reduces that risk of that flexing. And that's why I'm using it on this job, for the plastic, for that reason, and for the bare metal. Yeah, I'm going to get some primer mixed up and show the primer application, preparation, and the painting on this. Alright, YouTubes, how we all doing? Hope you're well. If you clicked on this video because of the title and the thumbnail, apologies for that. If it's not your type of video, a couple of reasons why I've done it. It's an experiment really, to see if it made any difference to how many clicks I get on my videos, and it saved me having to think about it as well. So there's the reasons. So if this isn't your type of content but you clicked it because of the title and thumbnail, my channel's all about painting and repairing cars, so you may like that type of thing, so stick around and you might enjoy it. But if any of my regulars to my channel have clicked onto this video, just want to say sorry for the lack of content over the last few weeks. Been absolutely flat out and just had no time. I've got loads and loads of footage, loads of work that I've done, just had no time to edit it, so apologies for that. Try and get back to the regular slot of a Saturday if I can. We'll just see how it goes, just play it by ear. So this job didn't go to plan, to be honest with you, and we'll get to that a bit later on. So in this part of it, we're just getting the car in primer, so all that bare plastic on that bumper, before I start sticking the multi-filler, I built primer on there, all the bare plastic. I've got some adhesion promoter in there. So if you're not regular to my channel, my whole paint system's MIPA, and that's called MIPA Haft Promoter, and it's adhesion promoter not just for plastic but for all surfaces, painted surfaces, bare metal, you name it. If you want something to stick without keying, you can use Haft Promoter on it, and it's really good. The key with Haft Promoter and most adhesion promoters is you want to get it on there light. You don't want to put it on there too wet. 1 or 2 light coats and give it a bit of a flash off, even though it evaporates and dries really quick. You want to give it at least, you know, a good 5 to 10 minutes to gas off and let it eat into the plastic or whatever surface you're putting it on. So Haft Promoter goes on there. Now I put a half coat on first, to be fair, and then 3 good wet coats of the MIPA multi-filler. This primer's fairly new to me. I've mainly been using, since I've had this system, I've had it for a good couple of years now. Mainly I've been using the 4+1 primer, which is a really good primer, really versatile. Lots of different mixing ratios for different applications and speeds. But I noticed on a couple of jobs I've had, you know, I've got customers that come back that we've done work on, so I always have a good look at jobs when they come back for additional work or whatever. I like to have a look, see how well the paint's holding up. And I've noticed a couple of times on bumpers these little hairline fractures that I've mentioned, and there was a bumper on a car that I'd done a similar process to this. It was an Audi as well, actually, where we prepped it out. There's loads of chipping and really, you know, it was in a rough state, so we, you know, done some extensive prep on it, and I put a good amount of primer on it. And the guy said that he'd nudged the front, and all it had done had marked the paint. So he said, well, Wally said, could you polish out, there's a bit of paint transfer and stuff on it. Do you think you could have a go at polishing that out? It was in for some other work. And I said, yeah, no problem. The car was white, and I didn't really notice it outside, but in the workshop, when I got to the end of the job, thought I'd better polish that bit out for the guy. And when I polished it out, I noticed loads of little hairline fractures in it. And then, funny enough, a few weeks later, the MIPA rep came in and said, you know, how's things going and all the rest of it. And I mentioned it to him, and he said, what primer are you using on it? And I said, oh, I use 4+1 on everything, the majority of stuff anyway. He said, you know, it's not too good for bare metal. I said, yeah, I know. If it was bare metal, you know, loads of it, I'd be using epoxy or whatever. Or I said, when there's little bits of bare metal exposed on a filler repair or something, I put a bit of half promoter on there, which it says on the data sheet to do that. And then he said to me, we don't recommend it for plastics. I said, what, for bare plastic? And he said, well, no, just for plastics in general. He said, you can use it, and there's no problem with it adhering and stuff like that, you know, if you've used half promoter underneath it. He said, but it's a bit too hard for plastics, and it's not very flexible. So he said, that issue that you saw with that bumper, that's the reason why we don't recommend it for plastics. I said, right, so what's the best thing to use on plastics then? And he said, we want to use multi-filler because it's good for bare metal and for plastic. And then went on and explained to me that it's flexible and it's really designed for that application. So I stopped using 4+1 high build on plastics and just use this multi-filler now on all of it. And it's good. I would say it's probably not as easy to rub as the 4+1, and there's some high build mixing ratios with a 4+1, which will give you better build on repairs than the multi-filler. And yeah, it's sort of, I don't know, it's got a lot of, it seems to have a lot of resin in it. So when I've stirred up a tin, there seems to be a lot of resin there, sort of. So I suppose it's a little bit more epoxy like. So it works, yeah, it works on straight direct to bare metal. Like I say, if you know, doing a complete panels that are complete bare metal, then I would be putting epoxy on it. But you know, like on this bonnet, breakthroughs in bare metal, and for the plastic, it's a perfect choice for that, to be honest with you. And yeah, it does go on a bit more textured, and it can be a bit harder to rub. It can be a bit harder work to rub, but it's only slight. It's not you know, day and night difference. So yeah, I recommend it. Comes in light grey and dark grey. There's a wet on wet mixing ratio for it. Probably not the best as a wet on wet, but I do use it as a wet on wet. If I'm bumpers, I normally wet on wet. I'm not one for putting wet on wet over panels that I'm painting if they've already been prepped with high build. Any breakthroughs I take care of with a spot sealer. So there's not as many choices on mixing ratios as the 4+1, but it works great for this type of application. So yeah, I do use it quite regularly now. Again, there's not like a fast drying option with it neither. There's put the same hardener in it, H10. It just recommends H10 hardener and V25 thinner, so fast hardener and a medium speed thinner. I've tried it with the extra fast hardener, the H5, and the fast thinner, which is the V10, and it seems to go on really textured like that, and makes hard work of rubbing it down, especially if you've got a large area to cover. So it doesn't give you many options on speed. There's more options on the 4+1 with speed, with thinners and hardener and ratios, and there's more mixing ratios with the 4+1. But I use that, and I've been using another quick dry one, which is the FX6 for little spot repairs that you need to air dry and get out the door really quick. So I've rubbed this down in the normal procedure like I normally would. Blocked it all out with 320. I like to keep it the block directional and finish off in circles, and you know, follow all the contours with the block. Just try and block it out nice and straight. Don't want to create no ripples in it. Beforehand, like, you know, with the bits that I buzzed out through the paint layers to the bare metal, get them feathered out, so once you've gone through, sand out around and just keep dragging them layers out and get them feathered out as flat as possible, so your primer hasn't got to do too much work and you'll minimise any sinkage later on down the line. So 320 grit, all the block work 320 grit, getting the edges 320 grit by hand. Then I go in the edges where the DA is going to struggle to get in. After it's guide coated, as you can see, I guide coated it all. Get the soft pad on the DA and refinish those scratches to a 500 grit. So I've been playing around with the preparation a little bit as I've changed my painting process on a lot of jobs now. I've put one video out so far, and this is sort of following on. I've been using the one visit modifier, you can call it, which in MEPA is called an ETR additive, which turns the base coat into a one visit wet on wet application base coat. So your scratches need to be a little bit finer, and I haven't had any issues at 500 grit, but I have been playing it safe and just finishing off in 600 grit. And it's because of the reason of not stacking up layers on top of each other. It's got less hiding power on prepping marks and scratches. So this job was filmed a while ago, and this is a progression as I moved on with the testing that I've been doing with the ETR additive. Now I had some problems with this job and it didn't go to plan. Not really to do with the base coat, but a combination of some of the things I've been doing, and I've made some changes. So look out for that video in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Trouble with that job. I've seen it before. It's like pressure, like it's gone on horrible. To have a proper look in the morning, so I'm fucking fucked off with it now, I tell ya. But fuck it, I've got to go in. It's fucking 20 to 9 at night. I've fucking had enough.